Hi, I'm Bunny Cakes and welcome back to my channel. So today is World Book and Copyright Day, which is April 23rd, and it has been April 23rd since 1995, and at this point millions of people participate in over 100 countries, and a lot of charity and businesses participate. I found this through an advertisement on Facebook made by Amazon. This isn't sponsored, by the way, that's just how I found it. They have a page that links to three big charities that participate in this. They're World Reader, Room to Read, and First Book. And the point of it is to promote reading and literacy and to promote books as windows into other cultures and other worlds. And I think it's really great. And so to celebrate this day, what I am going to be discussing is what got me into reading. And the short answer is a lot. My first big reading memory was when I was in probably first grade. And we got those little scholastic booklets where you could order books. And so you went through the book and you filled out the order or form and you gave the money to the teacher, and then weeks later you would get books. And most of the time my family didn't have the extra money to do that. But this one time they did. And so I ordered my books and I was excited, and then I was a kid, so I forgot about it. And then a few weeks later I got my books, and the teacher was smart and she didn't give us our books until the end of the school day. And at that time, we lived really close to the school I went to, so at the end of the school day, I would come out and meet my mom, and then she would walk me back home. Well, that day, I was super excited about getting home to read my books, and so I just ran home. I came home, and I went in my room, and I unpacked my books, and I remember in particular, it was a Thomas the Tank Engine book, and so I'm sitting there reading, and unbeknownst to me, my mom is doing our normal routine, and she walks to the school to get me, and I'm not there. And so she waits a little bit, and then there's no more kids there, so she goes in, and she's, at this point, understandably freaking out because I've disappeared. And she goes to the teachers, and they can't find me. And so she tells them that she's going to go home to see if maybe I had slipped past her and she didn't see me, which is what happened. And I guess the way I was positioned in the room when she looked in all frantic and such, she didn't see me. So she was tearing through the house and tearing through the neighborhood, and she couldn't find me. Until about an hour or so later, I was hungry. So I came out and went into the kitchen to ask what was for dinner. And my mom loses it, which, like I said, is understandable. And she starts yelling at me and screaming because she was scared to death, and she was about to call the police because she thought I had been kidnapped. And so I just explained to her what had happened was that I came home and I was reading, and she overlooked me, and oopsie. And then after that, my next big memory of what got me into reading was my very first chapter book. And I find this memory funny because, again, it involves my mom, and she's not a big reader. So, the fact that she's the one who handed me basically the keys to the kingdom is a little ironic and funny to me. And the book that got me into real reading was The Egypt Game. And it's by Zilpha Keatley Snyder. It's a book about these two little girls who meet, and they find out that they both love Egypt, and they start playing this game, and then it kind of goes a little Jumanji on them, and it's just a fun little book. And it's not a book that I would have ever picked up at the time that I picked it up, because I was in second, maybe third grade, and I was still in that weird bullheaded phase of I didn't like to read anything that didn't have pictures pictures in it. I'm not sure why, but it was, you know how when you're little, you just come up with these ideas and that's how things are. Um, so one day I was in the library at school and my mom came to pick me up early and she came into the library to get me and I hadn't picked out my book yet. So I told her that I didn't want to leave until I picked out my book. The problem was I had basically read all of the books with pictures that were in this library. And so she started like trying to rush me through. I can't remember where we were going, but she was in a hurry. And so she started handing me books and I kept turning them down because they didn't have pictures in it. And finally she handed me this book. And it doesn't have a lot of pictures in it, but it does have pictures like this. And so I said, okay, I guess that'll do. And I wasn't terribly happy about it, but I checked it out and we went home and I read it. And it was my first chapter book, my first big girl book. And it's really, really what got the ball rolling. I fell into fantasy, I fell into chapter books. And I'm pretty sure it was just a year or so later, probably in 5th or 6th grade, that I was reading things like Stephen King and like full blown adult books. But the Egypt game just has a really special place in my heart. And I felt like sharing that story with you guys. I actually plan to reread this book now that I found it again. Just to relive that experience because it's been long enough that I don't really fully remember the story. At least just picking up the book and reading the blurb on the back, I don't remember it very well. So I want to relive those first reading moments. So the second part of the point of this video is that I want to know what got you guys reading. Message me, leave a comment down below, make another video and turn this into a tag. But let's talk about it. What got you reading? And do you have interesting stories about how you started reading when you were younger? Or did you start reading when you were older? And then what made you pick up books and start reading? So yeah, discuss that with me. That's what I want to do with this. And also discuss how do you plan on celebrating not just this World Book and Copyright Day, but what do you plan to do next year? So that's all I have right now. Please like and subscribe and follow me on all my social media. It'll be linked down below along with the other links I mentioned before. So thank you and keep reading.